If you are in the market for a brand new vinyl fence and want to save thousands, well, there's no real secret. Do all the labor yourself, and yeah, you can shave off about half the cost. You could save a little money by actually digging all the holes by hand, but really by the time you add a pick and a post hole digger and a couple weeks of recovery from a broken back, yeah, well, you're about sixes with a hydraulic auger rental from a big box store. Obviously, I went with that, and luckily a majority of my ground was soft enough that I could use the auger. There were a couple holes I had to dig out by hand, but it was worth the rental for me. My straight line worked out pretty easily for this side of the house, and that's because I was tying into an existing fence on the far end and the house, where I was able to just secure the post to the house temporarily on this end, pull my string line, and hey, well, I got my straight line to run off of. And well, here is just a quick example of little modifications that you may need to do. There was a big hunk of concrete that I did not want to take out of the bottom of the hole, so I chopped a couple inches off the bottom of the post, and we're back in business. Prior to cement, I add just a little bit of dirt around the posts to help them stay upright. Cement has gone up in price. Not quite as much as lumber, but it still is a lot more than it was pre-2020. Well, hopefully when you start your project, it's all come back down in price and it's not breaking the bank for you. I'm sure I'll get some comments on how I actually do the cement, but this method I did on the back portion of my fence, which has outlasted numerous windstorms over the last couple years, so I did it again. I start by adding some water down in the hole, then half of the bag. Here I was using the 60-pound bags. I think I actually bought 80 for half of it, not even realizing that I had bought in half and half, but the 60-pound bags worked great, so I mix it very well. Yes, a lot more than just those couple seconds that I showed in the video. Add more water, then the remaining portion of the bag, and mix it thoroughly. Then check for level, like 50 times. Hopefully you actually watch this entire video before you start digging your holes. Kind of have a crucial step here for you. And that is, where are you getting the fence from? There are some places that sell prefabricated sections that have to be dead on center. For example, I know Home Depot sells a 6-foot section. That means that your posts need to be right on 6 feet, or else it's not going to work. Whereas for mine, I measure in between each post after they are set and give those measurements to the supplier, and they cut the top and bottom rail to fit perfectly. While I'm waiting for my rails to be cut, I actually need to tie into my existing fence. So it's pretty easy. Most places will actually give you a little template to use to cut that out. I drill a hole, then I use a straight bit and router it out. The rails have finally arrived, and now it's time to cross your fingers that they actually cut them all to the correct length. Yes, I did have to take one extra trip back because they cut one rail wrong. Securing that bottom rail is pretty simple. I'm just attaching it with a couple little deck screws. You might be asking, why am I using deck screws? And the simple fact is that, well, deck screws are great because they're weatherproof, and prior to my addition, I had a nice deck that I completely took out, so I had a big old bucket full of them that was just looking for a good new home. We finally made it to the panels, and this is the most satisfying part because it goes up so quickly. Now, if you did get a prefabricated set length, for example, the 6-footers from Home Depot, say, then this even goes quicker because your panels will fit exactly. That's where you would have taken more time up front, got them done just right, whereas this, as soon as I come to a piece that doesn't have a full panel, then I need to take that measurement and rip that piece down from a panel. I already had a little portable table saw, and so it's not like it was that much more work, but it is an extra step if you go this route. Lots of people might be asking, well, what type of blade do I need? And a regular woodworking blade will work just fine. A, a woodworking blade would work just fine for vinyl. We don't need to turn that into a tongue twister, but professionals will say if you have a fine tooth blade, then that would be better. I just used, I think I had like a 30 count tooth, so it worked great. There wasn't any big chips taken out of it, so no need to go out and buy a brand new blade. Adding the top rail is just as easy as placing the panels. You pretty much just line it up and slide it into the slot. An important step so that it doesn't wiggle back and forth is, well, yes, to add a couple screws up on top in the post, then your rails don't slide back and forth. The manufacturer actually suggests using PVC glue to adhere the caps to the posts. Well, I'm pretty sure not very many people have that lying around. Nor did I, so I used just some silicone, and guess what? It worked great. It's already been through some windstorms, and all of my caps are still there. When ordering your material, you need to know how many and where your gates are going to be. That is because the posts that those gates get anchored to actually have steel tubes in them. Some of them are a little different on how they, depending on the manufacturer, but regardless, those posts need extra reinforcement. Those self-tapping screws need a lot more meat to sink into than just a thin vinyl wall. And with that, you're done, unless you're like me and have a complete other side of the house to do. It wasn't too bad since I'd already knocked this side out, and so I will leave you with some pictures of the final product. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.